guys, welcome back to The Well with Shan. I hope you're having a great day. We are considering the topic of codependency over the next several steps of these episodes, and it's not a secret. I identify myself as a recovering codependent, and I am an Enneagram 2. I think most of us are kind of prone to this. But we are not just codependent because we're twos. There's lots of other factors. And one of them that I want to talk about today is the topic of empathy. Most folks who struggle with codependency are genuinely very empathetic people. They have gifts of mercy. They love children. They love older people. Or they just love to be a helper. They just love to make a difference, make the world a better place. There is nothing, absolutely nothing wrong with those virtues. Those are beautiful and wonderful. We just need to understand when and how is the proper place to use those things. So one of the pieces of empathy that we need to understand is that while it is beautiful, anything that is good and has a strength always has an underbelly. Every strength and beauty has an underbelly. And so we have to learn how to steward those gifts and consider the catch-all with the underbelly. One of the ways that empathy, of course, can be misused is giving too much, giving without boundaries, being taken advantage of, and many other aspects of things that really could cause us to be vulnerable. So, the scripture tells us that we are to be innocent as doves, but also what? Shrewd as a serpent. And that means that we mix wisdom with our empathy. We mix boundaries with our empathy. We also consider what is the greater good. So while mercy and empathy may be needed in one moment, in another situation, when we're dealing with somebody who's manipulative or somebody who's a user or someone who likes to take advantage of folks, is the greater good really to be empathetic in a situation that gives toward that quality in the other person? Or is that actually at a time that the other person would greater benefit from being called out with truth? Because remember, we're trying not just to give mercy, but truth in mercy, truth in love. It's both. It's going back to holding those two things in tension at one time. So while you're giving empathy, consider the greater good. Also consider your own motives. Is my motive here just to be liked by other people? Is my motives just to resolve or shove under the rug conflict? Is my motive just for some kind of personal glory? Then maybe empathy is not the best thing used in that moment. The other thing I want you to consider is, of course, the whole concept of boundaries. And Townsend and Cloud blessed us, bless their hearts, 30 years ago with the book called Boundaries. I call it the mother book, because since then, boundaries in dating and boundaries in marriage and boundaries with your teens, the parenting book, have all spurned off of it. But the mother book was Boundaries, and they gave us this concept of learning where I end and where you begin. Learning that it's okay to say no. In fact, if you can't say no, your empathy is probably getting abused. It's probably getting taken advantage of. And that's not good for you or anybody else. So in the essence of boundaries, we have to learn to say no. We have to learn what's okay for me, what's not okay for me. We have to learn our preferences, and we have to learn that nuanced perspective of boundaries and with empathy. We'll do another just on boundaries, or 2 or 3 or 4. But today, I just want you to consider, if you are an empath, you have a glorious gift. The world needs you. But don't let yourself be taken advantage of. Consider how to steward your empathy in a way that's for others' true good and the good of your own. Thank you guys. Come back again for The Well with Shan as we continue our series on codependency.